The Last Intelligence. In the featureless sky lay a supermassive black hole. Its accretion disk illuminated the vast meadow of purple grass on planet Flavio. The purple-haired boy with illuminating blue eyes looked sullen. He adjusted his respirator mask as he gazed over the vibrant Zircon city beneath the hills in the distance. For many super eons, Flavians observed the hole in the sky getting larger. Following the Great War that unified Flavia trillions of years ago, scientists looked to the sky. They discovered that Flavia was sinking into the hole. Around this time, an engineer invented a radio receiver. He claimed to have picked up some noises from space. Contemporary scientists had been trying to find these noises, but had found nothing but dead silence since then. Millions of years later, the scientists launched rockets into the sky. Some of them carried cameras, robots, and even individual Flavians. Later, the scientists also launched several probes in all directions. All these spacecraft sent back the same data: nothingness. Nothing existed out there except the hole and its accretion disk. The futility of the Flavians' existence distressed Zeno. Zeno might have looked young, but in reality, he was closing in on his trillionth birthday. In his younger years, he was the main architect for the construction of Zircon City. In the years since, the city had grown to a ton of millions. The last thing Zeno wanted was to leave the city that was so dear to him, let alone having it swallowed by the hole. On the other hand, the trillionth birthday would be a special occasion for Zeno. Flavian's lungs would be mature enough to process radiation without any aid at age 1 trillion. This would enable Zeno to breathe without his mask that he had been wearing since childhood. The trillionth birthday also served as a rite of passage, where one of the perks was eligibility to seek public office. As Zeno mulled over these thoughts, his older brother Phero approached him and put his arms around his sibling. "We should go now, Zeno," said Phero. His fiery red eyes shone onto Zeno's bluish-purple cheeks. "We had a breakthrough with the Traveler." Zeno buried his head into his arms and cried, "I do not want to go. Soon, the hole will swallow Flavio. Our scientists have confirmed this. What is the point of it?" "That is still trillions of years from now. We still have time to escape this planet somehow." Phero tapped his little brother's back to comfort him. "We will leave this universe. Why cannot we enjoy whatever time we have here? We all look at the sky all the time, right? There is nothing up there. Nothing but the hole." As Zeno began to cry, Phero leaned closer before taking several photographs from his pocket. "Look at these, Zeno. We have found another object in the sky." Phero laid the pictures on the grass for Zeno to peruse. "This thing is not that much bigger than Flavio, but it seems to have a massive gravity pull, causing Flavio to orbit it." Zeno looked over the images. He saw an enormous dark sphere with a faint white ring around it. "We enhanced the rings of radiation from what we can detect from this object. The theory is that this object used to hold a massive amount of energy and light," Phero explained. "Like the accretion disk?" "Yup. Also, through the Traveler, we can observe objects like these in their lifetime. By studying them, maybe we can find ways to survive a little longer." Zeno fell into deep thought. His mind raced between hope and despair. After all, what would be the point of another 100 trillion years if all light would be snuffed out in the end? Likewise, even if scientists could learn to create many such objects, someday they would run out of materials to make more. "Tell me about the Traveler," said Zeno while wiping off his tears with his sleeve. "What is the breakthrough?" "You have to see it for yourself. It is hard to explain. We managed to reverse engineer ancient codes and data from it. From there, we figured out what the Traveler is." "No way! You did it!" "We sure did." Phero stood up and brushed off many purple grass blades from his pants. He called out to Zeno as he walked away. "Let me show you what we have discovered." Zeno went after Phero, but he stopped midway to look back at the city. As he scanned over the sky, he spotted a shiny object with a tail cruising through the sky. The fascination froze him in his tracks for a moment, but he snapped out of it to catch up to Phero. City lights bathed the bustling hawker stalls lining the main street, each of them stocked up with various goods and energy cells for sale. As the brothers drove by, Flavians of all shapes, sizes, and colors floated out to observe the tailed object. They had never perceived any other things in the sky other than the hole, so it was a unique event for them. Inside the car, Zeno tuned the radio to a live stream of the leader of all Flavians, Kronos. You may have noticed the object in the sky. Our scientists are now working hard to identify what it is. It is a momentous occasion for us. There may be something out there, Kronos said with his usual energetic speaking style that seemed out of place in a time of peace. That object is unimportant, Firo commented as he went onto the highway on-ramp heading out of the city. What we have discovered is magnitudes greater than the floating rock in the sky. Do you know what it is? Zeno asked. It is something we call a comet, a remnant of when the universe was still alive. A rare sight, sure, but it is not of use to us, Firo explained while switching lanes to head towards the next exit. You will revel in what the traveler has found way more. The car exited the highway. A few miles later, a tall launch pad popped into view from beneath the horizon. The car drove past the entrance and went inside the fenced-off area into the Flavia Space Research Center. The halls of the research center were quiet and empty with a strange hum in the background. Trap floors and lights illuminated the rows of space-themed motivational posters on the wall. Nobody's here, Firo said with a sigh. I suppose I will have to set up the planetarium myself. The planetarium? I thought you were going to show me the traveler, Zeno asked while adjusting his mask. It will be easier to show you the animation on the big screen. Wait for me inside. Okay. Zeno entered the planetarium through its double wooden doors. He sat next to the projector and stared at the hole projected onto the dome. A moment later, he heard Firo's voice reverberating inside the theater. So, this is the hole, the lone object most Flavians know. We have learned that the ancient Flavians called it Sagittarius A star trillions of years ago. What? Where'd that name come from? Zeno yelled out. Yes, Zeno. It seems like everything we know is a sliver of what used to exist in our universe. Firo pivoted the projection to show the black object with a white ring around it. And this is the sun. Somehow, Flavia and its former star managed to keep a steady orbit instead of being flung off into the abyss. Star? The sun? What are you talking about, Firo? Zeno, the truth is, I have used the Traveler before. Many scientists have. The Traveler is not a tool to escape to another dimension, it is a time machine. Are you kidding me? Not at all, Firo said as he turned the planetarium's view into the purplish-blue planet of Flevio. This is our beloved home. Once a charred rock floating in space for trillions of years, it is now teeming with life. It is unclear how we came to be. It could have materialized out of the ether, it could have come from another universe. But let me turn the dial to a billion trillion years in the past. A time counter appeared below the image of Flevio. It began counting down as Flevio reverted from the purple sphere to a black ashen planet. The time counter read only 1,000,000 trillion years ago at this point. For trillions of years, Flevio stayed like this. Next, distant twinkling objects began to appear. There were few at first, but soon they filled the whole planetarium's walls. The black sun turned white, and soon the entire walls turned bright white. I fast-forward a bit, Firo said over the speakers. This was the sun's nova event. It will turn into something grand. Watch. The sun began pulsating, burning, and cooling Flevio in rapid succession. It turned bright crimson as the sun became a massive red fireball. Afterward, the hole lost its accretion disk and spread into 47 black holes. Flevio began to move away from the hole as many stars came into view. Then, the hole split again into two. The two black holes danced in a dazzling light show that became so bright it obscured the two black holes. As the lights began to settle, a beautiful spinning object emerged and flew off into the distance. The sun shrunk. Flevio turned blue as lines appeared again, although these lines turned green instead of purple. What is this? Zeno inquired. This is what Flevio used to be. Chlorophyll used to be green instead of purple. It captured energy from the star instead of from a black hole's accretion disk. You mean another life existed here this long ago? Indeed, there was more life than we ever knew. I will show you the details inside the Traveler itself. Come to the laboratory. You will learn. Down in the laboratory, Zeno noticed the gigantic orb that was the Traveler. The warped and charred surface spoke of its life deep in Flavius' mantle for many millenniums. The Traveler's height would reach the tallest of buildings on the surface. Never gets old, huh? Firo said as he skipped past Zeno towards the entrance of the Traveler. I have been fixing this baby for so many years. Now it is ready. Does Kronos know what you have figured out? Not a clue. Kronos will know one day, but we will make sure he will not jeopardize everything. Tell me how you made the animation I watch, Zeno asked. Firo opened the Traveler's doors for Zeno. Alien instruments and other blinking lights littered the interior. All our technologies from when the universe was alive. The brothers descended the stairs towards the sea of blinking lights. You see, all these are data. The Traveler has gathered them since a billion trillion years ago. It also contained every knowledge known to the intelligent beings who made it. These include data towards the beginning of the universe. So, it's everything we need. Not everything. There is nothing in the data that directs towards a way to escape the universe, nor how to ascend to a higher dimension. Yeah, but this is a huge step forward. In a trillion, nay, billions of years, we will figure out a way. Maybe. Firo took a seat in one of the mysterious terminals within the Traveler. Check this out. Firo pointed to the screen. We managed to find out what these are. These are all possible configurations of atoms of the universe from its birth until now. Firo switched to another tab. We also decrypted the ancient Flavians' numeric system. Then we found this era when they experienced a huge explosion of knowledge. As it goes, this was the time when the ancient Flavians created a simulation machine. Through the data from the Traveler, this machine can simulate the entire universe. I have been inside the simulation and lived an ancient Flavian's full lifetime myself. Firo turned on the lights behind him. Pods filled with Flavian scientists in suspended animations line up in rows. These are our researchers inside the simulation now. Thanks to them, we managed to translate one of the ancient Flavians' languages. We know now that they used to call this planet Earth. Zeno was speechless. He slumped over on one of the nearby chairs. How long have you known all this? Not even 100 years. The ancient Flavians did not have a long lifespan. We have learned so much in so little time. That is why I want you to experience it. I cannot even fathom it. My mind is racing right now. Did the ancient Flavians escape the universe? I am unsure. The humans updated the Traveler with new data for billions of years before they went silent. I assumed they escaped the expanding sun and had forgotten about it. Do you know what they looked like? Yes. Firo put up a picture of the ancient Flavians. Their skin was a lot darker than Flavians' with shades ranging from pale pinkish to dark brownish. Despite this, their facial features had an uncanny resemblance to Flavians'. That is us. They look like us, but I do not think they are us, Firo said as he took off his brother's respirator mask. They breathe oxygen, unlike us. They are carbon-based instead of plasma-based. They would die if they were here in this room with us. How do they look like us then? Not sure. The planet could be taking the blueprint of its most successful species that led to us existing. Looking at the data of the universe, they would not have survived past the death of the stars. So, you have been in the simulation, right? What can you tell me about it? Many things, too long to explain. That said, there were a few notable things that were helpful for our research. The humans were in the beginning phases of space exploration at the time. They launched satellites, and even landed a few of their own on an object they called the Moon. This gave us data on what the universe was like back then. Humans, huh? Yep, that was how they called themselves. You seem unfazed by all this now. I have heard enough, I understand, Zeno said as he put his respirator mask back on. So you want me in the simulation, to learn how we could escape? Yes, you will pick up from when mine ended. The science team entrusted me with the early rise of human technology. It will continue from when its complexities began to explode. It will be exciting. How long will it take? My simulation ended early due to an illness after a few years. I heard humans could live longer than I did, 100 years or more is possible. I will keep track of these simulations until another scientist wakes up and takes over. Who knows, I may meet you inside. Zeno looked over to the posse of scientists. He thought of the alien world he would enter. 100 years was not a long time for him, but still, worry riddled his mind. He glanced over to Firo and asked, "Can I get out of the simulation before it ends?" "You will need to complete it to its end, although you can end it earlier if you choose. I would not do it." Zeno nodded. Firo then pulled up an interface on the console. "You may choose a potential life from this selection right here. There are billions of humans. We will find the best match to your criteria," he explained. "Okay." Zeno checked the selections. "I like this one. He has a kind-hearted mother and a tumultuous life. He may experience plenty of things in his life." "Alright. When you are ready, you can step inside the pod." Zeno went inside one of the pods. Firo sauntered over. "I may see you later. For now, have a wonderful life." He closed the lid. Anesthetic gases sent Zeno into a deep sleep. The waves crashed onto the shores, bathed under the moonlight. The brown-haired boy with blue eyes put the finishing touches on his sandcastle. His mom walked over and knelt beside him to help him decorate the sandy fortress. She stared deep into his eyes. "There you go, Zeno. It's all done." "Thanks, Mom." Zeno smiled. In a flash, an object with a tail appeared in the sky. "Ah, there's the comet we've been waiting for all night. Zeno, it's Hail Bob." The tail traveler piqued Zeno's interest as it flew across the starry sky. But a sudden thought crossed his mind. "Mom, the comet is fascinating and all, but I am curious about the stars. Do you know how many stars are out there?" Zeno asked. "I'm not sure. From what I know, there are more stars in the universe than all the sands on Earth. Every one of them, they're as bright if not brighter than our sun." Zeno observed the comet as it went behind the clouds. He felt shivers within him. Dread was setting in. "Mom, the stars. They will all die someday, right?" Zeno said with a quivering voice. Zeno's mom looked uneasy. "They will live for a long time, Zeno," she responded. "But they will die in the end, right?" "I suppose they will. But that's alright. They won't die until trillions of years from now." Zeno looked sullen. "I do not want them to die." "Don't worry about it. We'll find a way to solve the problem then, I'm sure." Zeno looked towards the sky. The comet had reappeared from behind the clouds, once again illuminating the yellow sands on the beach. "There must be a way, right, Mom?" "Yes, honey, there should be. We humans are intelligent creatures. We'll figure it out." Not long after, a red sedan parked next to the mother and son. Zeno's dad exited the vehicle with a birthday cake and a foldable table. After so many hours, Grandma had done it. "Happy birthday, Zeno." He proceeded to bring out some paper plates and 7 birthday candles. "May you grow up to be a happy and healthy boy." "You must be a lucky boy," Zeno's mom exclaimed. "You have a shooting star and a birthday wish. Whatever you wish for gotta come true at this point." Zeno laughed. He hugged his mom and said, "I love you, Mom." "Alright then." Zeno's dad put a chair for Zeno to sit on. "Make a wish, son." Zeno sat on his chair. He surveyed the Hail Bob, the Milky Way, and the surrounding environment. He closed his eyes. Millions of neurons fired in his brain, recalling a hazy memory of a place. The last memories from an era without stars, a time without light, swept by mundane recollections of a birthday party with friends and a science book at the library. "I must not forget," Zeno whispered to himself. He blew out each candle one at a time.